Welcome to the Database Editor online tutorial. This video will outline the necessary steps to add a new material database in the Database Editor and explain how to use this custom material in the WoodWorks software. As mentioned in the Introduction to the Database Editor video, the Database Editor allows you to add and customize material databases. You can pick from a variety of materials such as sawn lumber, glulam, machine stress rated or machine evaluated lumber, structural composite lumber, I-joists, steel, and CLT. The first step is selecting Custom from the Database Editor Type drop-down menu. Then, you must decide which member type your customized material will be used for example, beams, joists, columns, wall studs, or panels. Finally, click on the Add Icon button. Alternatively, you can click on the Add Menu item, which can be found by selecting Edit on the menu bar. In this example, we will be adding a 5-ply E5 grade CLT panel. This grade consists of Hem-Fir MSR lumber in all the longitudinal layers and visually graded lumber in all the transverse layers, as specified in Annex A of the Standard for Performance Rated Cross-Laminated Timber, often referred to as PRG 320. The material properties for a 5-ply E5 grade CLT panel will be taken directly from Table A3 and A4 of Annex A of PRG 320, published in 2019. Let's begin. Make sure to have the database type set as custom, and then select panels from the member type drop-down menu. Select any material from the material list and click on the Add icon. The new material dialog box will open. We will name the material CLT_E5 and choose the cross-laminated timber option from the list of material types. Click on OK to continue. Select the New Species option listed in the Species column and click on the Edit icon button. The Species Properties dialog box will open. Type Hem-Fir as the species name and enter a weight of 4.51 kilonewton per cubic meter. Note that the weight was obtained by converting the relative density value of 0.46 for Hem-Fir, as shown in Table 11.25 of the 2020 Wood Design Manual, published by the Canadian Wood Council. Select the new grade option listed in the grade column and click on the Edit icon button. The Grade Properties dialog box will open. Type E5 as the grade combination name. Begin populating the specified strengths, starting with bending. Enter a value of 23.9 as FB in the longitudinal direction, and a value of 7.0 as FB in the transverse direction. For compression, enter a value of 18.1 as FC in the longitudinal direction, and a value of 9.2 as FC in the transverse direction. Note that the value for compression perpendicular to grain is not available in the PRG 320 standard. However, we can use a value of 4.6, which is taken directly from Table 6.4 of the CSA 086 2019 standard. For shear, enter a value of 0.53 for the longitudinal and transverse direction. For tension, enter a value of 11.4 as FT in the longitudinal direction and a value of 3.2 as FT in the transverse direction. Finally, the modulus of elasticity. Enter a value of 10,300 as E in the longitudinal direction and a value of 10,000 as E in the transverse direction. The values of E05 are not listed in the PRG 320 standard. Therefore, we can refer to the CSA 086. Note 6 under Table 8.2 states that the E05 value for visually graded lumber can be found in Table 6.4. This means that the value of E05 in the transverse direction can be taken as 6,000. In the case of the longitudinal direction, E05 is found by multiplying the value of E in the longitudinal direction by a factor of 0.82. This simple calculation results in a value of 8,446 for E05 in the longitudinal direction. Once you have entered the properties, click on OK to continue. Select the New Section option listed in the Sections column and click on the Edit icon button. The Sections Property dialog box will open. Let's start with the actual size, which is expressed in millimeters. Enter a depth value of 175 millimeters. Note that the individual thickness of each layer of lumber in the panel is equal to 35 millimeters. Under the nominal size section, which is expressed in inches, enter a panel depth of 7 inches. This value has been rounded and is equivalent to 175 millimeters. It is important to note that the value of the depth under the actual size section is the value that is used for calculations in both the metric and imperial unit system. Continue by entering the number 5 under the Layers section. Note that the individual thickness of each layer of lumber in the panel is equal to 35 millimeters. That being said, enter a value of 35 for the longitudinal and transverse thickness. Since the panel grade is a standard layup, in other words, alternating longitudinal and transverse layers, make sure the standard perpendicular configuration option is chosen. Finally, the stock length. Enter a value of 19.5 meters, assuming that the maximum stock length of an E5 grade CLT panel is 19.5 meters. Here is a key point to remember. The value entered as the stock length is not used in the calculations. But if the design length entered in Sizer is greater than the stock length listed in the database editor, as shown in this existing material database, a warning message stating that the member length exceeds the stock length will appear in the design check calculation sheet results, as shown in this example using the material CLT E5 test with a stock length of 5 meters. Once you are finished entering the properties, click on OK to continue. We are one step closer to being able to use our custom material in WoodWorks Sizer. Make sure to save the material database by clicking on the Save icon button. In order for the changes to take effect, close the Sizer program if it's open, followed by the database editor application. Reopen the Sizer program and design a CLT floor panel using the new material we created. Simply change the material to CLT_E5 and choose the depth of 175 millimeters. Note, the species, grade, and width of the panel are grayed out because we only created one species, one grade, and one section. You can follow the exact same procedure if you wish to add different material databases. Want to know how to add a steel beam? Check out our step-by-step tutorial, which goes over the procedure of adding an additional section to an existing steel beam database. Don't forget to watch our other training videos, follow our step-by-step tutorials, and browse through the user guide, all of which can be found on our website at woodworks-software.com. Thanks for watching!